What you're about to see is an example of an initial intake interview. In assessment, the most commonly used tool is interviewing. Although interviewing is an informal technique, we still need to think about issues of reliability and unsystematic error, and also issues of validity and whether the counselor is obtaining the information that they need in order to structure the counseling process. In an intake interview, it's important to discuss confidentiality. It's also important to discuss whether the client may be suicidal or if they might also harm someone else. Although these are difficult issues sometimes to discuss, they're important and should be addressed. Now, let's look at this example.
Hi, Wally.
Hello.
Well, I would like to say welcome to the center. And this is what we call our intake interview, and my name is Darren, and I'm going to be conducting the intake today. An intake is different from what a normal counseling session would be. I will be asking you a lot of questions, and basically I just want to be able to get a good picture of what your life is like right now, and then at the end, based on our conversation, we're going to decide whether or not this is the right place for you to be, or if you can potentially get better help somewhere else.
Okay.
And I need to remind you that everything that you tell me is going to stay between you and me, unless if you tell me that you're in danger of hurting yourself or somebody else, then I'm going to have to break confidentiality just to make sure you don't do that. And at any point, if you have any questions or if anything's not clear, please feel free to stop me, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Do you have any questions right now before we start? Okay, well, Wally, let's talk about what brought you here.
Well, I guess I'm here because my relationship with my wife has not been going so well lately.
Okay.
We fight a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of arguments. Lately, even more so.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that she wanted me to seek counseling.
Okay. Okay. When you say a lot more arguments, what would be the difference from before?
We've always had our disputes.
Mm-hmm.
We've been married about six years now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not been bed of roses, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But this last year, our kids we have 2 kids, and they're just kind of getting to school age.
Mm-hmm.
And that's changed for them.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife's kind of thinking about wanting to go back to work maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just been a lot of upheaval around these issues. And so it just seems to put everyone on edge.
Okay.
And it just seems like any little thing starts up an argument.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, we're just right in the middle of a fight. And
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like everything was okay one minute, and then it just kind of erupts.
Okay. Well, what kind of arguments usually?
Oh, I'm not home from work on time. I'm too busy with other things.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to have a job, and I want her to be home, keeping the home in good shape with the children and all.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm out too much. It could be any one of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Turns into a fight.
Okay. So, this is just something that I need to ask because you mentioned the word, words fight and argument. But usually when you argue or you fight, is it like verbal arguments?
Oh, yeah. I never raised my hand to her,
Mm-hmm.
never raised my hand to the children.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I don't believe in.
Okay.
Our fights are more, well, they start off kind of yelling until we just it's like I just had enough.
Mm-hmm.
I just leave.
Mm-hmm.
I go out to my shop, or I go out to the bar or something, and then sometimes I'll have a few drinks and I'll come home and I'll kind of want to start up a little bit more, and that doesn't really go very well, as you can imagine. So,
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's usually what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So I just kind of want to get this clear. That's usually you come home and then you get into an argument and then you drink and go out just to kind of get away from it.
I mean, usually I'll come home and I like to have a drink or two. You know, my job's stressful. I got a lot on my plate, and so I like to kind of unwind a little bit, have beer or whatnot, and almost every night then something comes up. Something comes up, and we have a fight, we have an argument, and at some point I just have enough, and I just leave. And I might go out to my shop, or I might go to the bar, but I usually go, because I'm even more anxious, more stressed out. I'll have a few more drinks, and she feels like the drinking is becoming out of control, I guess.
What do you think about that? Do you think it's out of control?
Well, I mean, like I say, I like to have a few drinks. You know, I mean, I like to unwind a little bit. I mean, I feel like it's under control. I'm not saying it always is. There's been times I've, you know, made bad decisions, but I feel like it's under control. She feels like it's this huge problem.
Okay. Well, Wally, other than alcohol, do you use any other substance?
Oh, I mean, I might have smoked a little weed back in the days, and I mean, every now and then I might, with some friends. I tried coke once long ago, but that wasn't for me. No, I mean, I'm against drugs. I don't really drugs.
Okay, so you've tried a couple of things in the past. When was that when you tried coke?
Oh, that was, I don't know, 15 years ago now.
Okay.
You know, back when everyone was doing that, but you know, but I don't do drugs.
And that was a single isolated incident, basically.
That was a single incident. Right?
Okay. And you mentioned you also tried smoking weed as well in the past. And when was that?
Oh, well, you know, when I was first out of school, you know, me and my buddies, I mean, there's quite a lot of marijuana smoking going on. But, you know, I got married and I got kids, and you know, I had to kind of grow beyond that. I mean, so I don't really fool that anymore. Maybe now and then, but I don't really do that.
Okay. And when you say now and then, what do you mean by that?
You know, maybe once a month or once every 2 months, a buddy will, you know, come by with something. And, you know, we'll go out to my workshop and smoke a bowl or something, but you know, no more than that.
Okay. And you don't feel like so you don't feel like that part is interfering with your life in any way?
No.
Okay. How do you feel? Do you feel sad? I know that you mentioned the word anxious and just like not unhappy in general with how things are going at home currently.
Well, when I'm at work, I feel fine. I mean, I like my job. I mean, I work really hard. I mean, I have some problems there, but you know, my boss and I can work out our problems. You know, I enjoy that. But as soon as I start driving home, I'm feeling nervous because I know it's going to be a big dispute again. And then when I get home, you know, I have a few drinks just to kind of ease my nerves, and you know, just every time something sets it off, and we're having a big fight, and I just don't want to deal with it, so I just go, you know, have a few more drinks. So, I mean, I feel sad in the sense that I know my kids are not being brought up in the home I'd like for them to have, and yeah, but mostly I feel either happy at work or just nervous about the fight we're about to have, and then I feel angry because we're in a fight.
Right. So it's more like it's upset, and you feel upset, and sometimes you feel angry as opposed to depressed, or.
Yeah. I'm too busy to really feel depressed. You know, I got a lot of my job, and then I come home, I got a lot to deal with there, so I don't have any time to be depressed.
Okay. Well, even though you say you're not depressed, this is just one of those questions again that I need to ask just to get a better picture or a more accurate picture of what your life is like. You know, or I don't know, whenever you feel, you know, just like said are just not good. Have you ever thought about hurting yourself?
Oh God, no.
No?
Like killing myself?
Yeah, hurting yourself? That doesn't necessarily mean killing yourself, but I guess that's part of it.
No, I've never thought of that.
Okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess
So that's one thing
so.
that's really good. Okay. I also would like to ask you some questions about your family history. Has anybody in your family ever been diagnosed with conditions like depression, anxiety, or other mental health related
No,
things?
I don't think so. I mean, my dad drank a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I got an uncle he's an alcoholic for real.
Mm-hmm.
He's really alcoholic. I don't know of anything else that would have come up in the family.
Okay.
But no, I don't know anything else.
Okay. So it sounds to me like it's just alcoholism that sort of runs in your family, but there's no other known
About that,
formal diagnosis.
I mean, my dad, he drank some, like
Okay.
me. I don't know if that was too much.
Okay.
He enjoys drinks. Uncle is a whole different thing. He's really into it, but that's about all I can think of.
Okay. Are you currently taking any medications for anything?
No.
No? You're not under any, you don't have any medical conditions or?
Nothing like that, no.
Okay. That's good.
In this interview between Darren and Wally, it appears that substance abuse may be an issue for Wally. A commonly used interviewing technique is called the CAGE assessment, which addresses substance use. Now let's return to the intake interview with Darren and Wally and see the CAGE being used in an initial intake interview.
On average, I was just wondering, in a week, how many times would you say you drink?
Like how many times just have a drink, or like really drink like too much?
Just drink. How many times do you have?
Probably average. Most every evening I'll have at least something to drink.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean getting drunk every night.
Right. But it's usually every night you drink.
Yeah, mostly.
7 days a week. Okay. And each time you drink on average, how many drinks do you have?
Well, I mean, like when I come home, I'll have a drink or two.
Mm-hmm.
A couple beers, whatnot. If it's particularly stressful, I might have, 3 or 4 in addition to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not every day,
Mm-hmm.
but that could happen a few times a week.
Okay, so just want to be clear. You usually drink a couple of beers. However, when things are more stressful than usual, then you may have 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, and part of the problem is things have been real stressful lately, so
Okay, so the
kind of increases how much I drink.
have you noticed a big difference between? I guess you said for the past year you've been fighting a lot. So the difference in drinking, has it gone up a lot within the past year? What's the trend like?
I would say I definitely have been drinking more than I was before things really started feeling as bad as they have lately.
Okay.
For me, I'm usually drinking because I feel stressed, or because I know I'm gonna feel stressed,
Mm-hmm.
or just angry or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, more nights than not.
Okay.
I'm either going to the bar or going to my workshop.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little fridge out there. I keep,
Mm-hmm.
keep a few drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So, more nights than not, I'm having some drinks.
Okay. Okay. Do you get sick a lot after you drink? Do you get hangovers?
Yeah, I certainly wake up feeling pretty wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
It has been hard to get to work on time on occasion.
Okay.
My boss and I've had to have a few conversations about that.
Okay.
I feel like it's under control,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm not as young as I used to be.
Yeah.
So
it sounds to me like, other than causing the problem at home, with your wife, in terms of difference in perspective and whatnot, it's also causing some trouble at work, even though so far it sounds to me like you've been able to work it out with your employer.
I mean, sometimes it's hard to get there on time,
Mm-hmm.
and that causes trouble with the boss. And also,
Right.
your coworker, they get frustrated because you're not showing up on time. And I know that, I'm not pulling my weight sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you show up and you're really kind of wiped out, and you're not
Yeah.
as productive as you. And I mean, I understand why they get frustrated with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I told you, there was this one occasion where, I brought, I brought some alcohol with me to work, and I had a few drinks on the job, and,
Mm-hmm.
and that caused some problems.
Right.
I mean, I think they've been resolved now, but it can affect your work atmosphere too.
Well, with just, how it's been affecting your life, I'm interested in knowing if you've ever felt like you need to cut down a little bit on your drinking.
Well, I mean, I guess I'd like to cut down in the sense of I feel kind of crummy a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's helpful to be able to relax
Right.
and to ease some stress.
Right.
But there are times when you feel like, wow, this is too much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that's good because it sounds to me like you're understanding the difference between drinking to wind down and to relax yourself and, going one step further and, having it be something that's not very helpful anymore.
Yeah, it used to be more just like kind of nice to have a few drinks in the evening and just kind of wind down. And now there are times when it feels like it's always stressful, so you're always drinking, and it can wear on you after a while.
Right. Okay. And you mentioned that a couple of people or a few people at work have been frustrated, and obviously your wife has talked to you about this numerous times. Do you find that to be annoying when people talk to you about your drinking?
Yeah. I mean, in a way, a man's business is his business,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand when it gets in the way at work, but on the other hand, I mean, I'm doing what I got to deal with the best I can, and I really don't, want to hear from other. I don't need their input. It's not productive. It's not helpful.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because sometimes it's difficult to hear criticism, and especially because, like I said, it sounds to me like you're aware of.
Yeah, it's almost like, okay, if I know it's a little too much, then you made your point. I don't need to hear it anymore. And then when the voices keep suggesting there's a problem, you don't want to hear it after a while.
Right, because it becomes repetitive.
Yeah.
So, do you ever feel guilty, I guess, about the drinking?
Well, I don't like. I really. I don't like my kids seeing the whole thing. I mean, that's partly my drinking. That's partly the relationship I have with my wife. I don't really like the kids to see that.
Right.
So I do feel bad about that because I want them to not grow up in that kind of atmosphere.
Okay. So it sounds to me like beyond feeling guilty about the drinking, you don't feel very good about what your family has to go through, or your kids seeing you fight with your life over this. And
yeah. Or you end up staying out late more than you should because you're at the bar with your friends,
right.
And then driving home, you kind of feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done this, but I said I wouldn't last time, and here I am again. That can feel bad after a while.
Yeah, because there could be more productive ways, I guess, to cope with things.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure that out. Well, another question that I need to ask is, you mentioned that sometimes you would get sick and you'll get hangovers, and then you feel crummy after you drink. So usually after you drink, you go to bed, and then the next day when you wake up, have you ever had to have a drink just to kind of help you get over the hangover?
No, when I get up, I mean, I usually just try to drink water and maybe an aspirin or something, but no, not really in the morning.
Okay, so you usually just drink at night, and then if you feel sick, you don't necessarily drink more to make yourself feel better. You drink water intake.
I don't usually want to worry about getting to work.
Do you have any questions for me or anything?
Well, I guess I just wonder where it goes from here, I guess.
Okay. Or Actually, is there anything else that you would like me to know that I never asked you that you think will be important?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Wally, well, after talking to you, I feel like these are the things that you come in with, are the things that we should be able to help you with. And, you mentioned things at home being stressful with your wife, you've been arguing, and you're worried about what your kids are seeing, and also some of the issues related to your drinking. These are things that we commonly see here, and we help people with these kind of issues all the time. So I think if you're willing to commit to, coming here regularly for counseling, it could be something that's beneficial for you. So will you be willing to come back and, like I said, work with a counselor on a regular basis? It's usually a weekly session.
I come back next week for a new session?
Right.
Yeah, I'd be willing to try that.
Okay, well that's a good thing, because then the two of you will be able to explore these issues a little bit more, and then you can start talking about goals, changes that you'll be able to make, and hopefully that will make your life better, will make you feel better, I guess.
Okay.
So, okay. Well, I wish you luck with everything, and we'll set up an appointment for you for next